Hello, wonder people. Hello, hello, hello. Can you believe we are back practicing positivity, the studio with Dr. Nicole Bossard. I'm here and I have a surprise for you all. So while the music is getting you hyped, here we are, First Fridays, bringing it back. I want to encourage you, grab a pencil, grab a pen, grab a keyboard, grab a phone, something to note down the wonderful insights that will come forth from our conversation today. But before we get into that, I do have some things that I just want to remind you about. So first things first, as you recall, or you may not recall, but I want to remind you, here in the studio, there are a couple of things that we like to kind of roll with here. So practicing positivity, the studio, it's a shared learning lab. It's a dynamic place that is intended for us to come in and really build the lifelong practice of nurturing those things that give us energy, vitality, and that really expand our love for life. And here, what we mean by life is L is for love, I is for inspiration, F is for freedom, fun, and faith, and E is for an exceptional experience called life. So we want to bring those things in here that help you put your head around, your hands around, and your heart around the practices that help you to thrive. Not just when everything is going right, not just when everything is going well, not just when all the ducks are in a row, but when life is lifing. As I heard in one of my favorite movies, Soul, when life is lifing, sometimes not everything is just so in the ways that we want it to be. And we have to apply some pressure. And here in Practicing Positivity, the studio, we want to give you the tools that will allow you to apply the right tools to hit those right pressure points that literally help you thrive and that flourishing becomes a matter of choice, not a matter of external condition. And I hope you'll see what I mean by that in just a moment. So welcome aboard. And I want to invite here to the stage a wonderful friend of mine, a colleague of mine, a mentor of mine, Dr. Carolyn Colleen Bostrack. Now, this is what I have affectionately deemed her, because this is, of course, how she has occurred and appeared in my life as a resilience fire walker and a purpose. And let me even reframe this a little bit: an empowering purpose stalker. So here's a little bit of that I want to share with you about who Colleen is. Dr. Carolyn is a speaker, a leadership and strategy consultant. She is the founder of the Fierce Foundation, author of Fierce, Transform Your Life in the Face of Adversity, 5 minutes at a time. Yes, you heard it right. 5 minutes at a time, and co-author of Academic and Educational Entrepreneurship. Dr. Carolyn is also the owner of Acton Academy, Midwest, a private STEM entrepreneurial and trade school. Additionally now, this is in addition to everything else I just said, what I'm about to say. Additionally, Dr. Carolyn serves as a delegate for the Commission on the Status of Women with the United Nations, advocating for global women's empowerment. So if you would, please put your hands together wherever you be. Welcome, 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 Dr. Carolyn Colleen Bostrack, one of my sister friends. Dr. Carolyn, welcome, welcome aboard. It is a delight to have you here with us on the first Friday. And as you know, this is a very special first Friday. This is me actually kind of bringing and breathing some fresh life back into the studio after being away, doing some studying, doing some soul searching, but gathering more tools that will to put into people's hands that will help them experience, explore, and elevate their resilience on demand, not simply when it all seems to work out and be fine. So before we go any further, just let me kind of offer the mic to you. And what else, in addition to that incredible bio, anything that you'd like to start with before we jump into this conversation?
Well, I'm excited to be here, Dr. Nicole. I your energy, your positivity, your light is a true blessing, and I'm grateful to be in your orbit. And so I'm just happy to be here.
I am so grateful for that. So I want to, and you all remember I suggested earlier on that you grab a pen, you grab a pencil, something to write with and something to write on. So as we begin this conversation about practicing positivity, and I dropped another key word in there, resilience, accessing resilience on demand. So Dr. Carolyn, I'd love to have you talk about just your understanding of resilience and kind of give us a sense of what's your story of finding resilience. Were you always a resilient person? Did you have to cultivate resilience? Were you in a moment in life where you were pressed and stressed and had to find your way to it? Talk to me about and talk to us about your story of resilience. Let's start there.
Well, thank you. So I would say, to answer that first question, resilience is something that's learned. And so it's like a muscle. We have to be able to start somewhere and then build it up. And at first, it's actually quite difficult. And so I created a way out of survival that now today thousands of people use on a daily basis for many different reasons in order to emerge from different adversities. Now, we have all kinds of adversities that we deal with every single day. And this isn't a comparison of, show me your scar and I'll compare it to mine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how we each have our own adversities in all different levels that we navigate. Because, in life, either we are headed into a storm, we're in one currently, or we just got out of one. And it's not that life necessarily gets easier. It's that we learn how to navigate better. And so with that, for me, navigating the different storms of life, when we think about all the way back to childhood and navigating different types of things that happen that never should have happened, there's navigating middle life and figuring out how to navigate parenthood, navigate divorce, navigate new relationships, and learning who I'm choosing to be as I explore entrepreneurialism, as I navigate through intrapreneurialism, as I think about what my purpose is, and perhaps give myself permission to realize that my overall purpose in life and where I'm headed to can change. That's also another way that we have to be able to navigate resilience and realize that we are enough. Realize that we do have the answers. Because a good mentor of mine said to me, sometimes it's not really learning something new, it's remembering something true.
Oh, say that again. Say that again.
It's not always learning something new, it's remembering something true.
Okay. Now you've set off a couple of wisdom blossoms that I want to circle back to so that before we get done, we can get some full, beautiful lotus blooms for folks to carry with them and carry forward with them. The first one you started off, I want to really have you talk a little bit about, or just to kind of give people a comfort zone with this, that resilience is a learned skill. Talk a little bit about this in your work. You said thousands of people are using the framework that you've come up with to cultivate resilience. But talk a little bit about how you came to understand, listen, resilience is something that you can learn, expand, grow, improve, strengthen, fortify. And it's not a zero-sum game. You're born with it or you're not. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. I've had people ask, how is it that someone who grows up in a similar household, same household, two siblings, And those siblings end up in very different paths. And you've probably seen it. Like there's different, memes and videos and things where you see there's same upbringing, and one sibling turns out to have a drug addiction or something, or maybe has a particular struggle in life, didn't turn out the way that they were hoping. And then the other sibling is, this super go-getter and completely opposite of the other. However, they had a similar upbringing.
Sure.
It's all over the place, right? And you can probably vision that picture in your mind. And I've been asked over the years, oh, hold on, what is this key to resilience? What's going on here? Is it that you've been dealing with your trauma, and that is how you're resilient in that way, or what is it? And what I've discovered in my short lifetime is that it's building a muscle. Now, mind you, have I struggled with many different adversities? I have. And what I realized is that while I'm dealing with situational depression, while I'm dealing with overwhelm, while I'm dealing with, suicidal ideation, when I'm dealing with these very severe challenges and adversities, being able to build resilience just 5 minutes at a time within those situations. For example, this particular methodology that I created out of survival began when I was waiting in line at the Salvation Army. I was waiting for food. I had no idea where my next meal would come from. My daughter, trying not to let her realize the situation we were in and the fear within my soul. And so the fear that I was facing was fear that the restraining order that my at the time husband had, that he would just plow through that and harm us. And the fear of unknown, the fear of not knowing where we're going to live, not knowing where we were going to, how we were going to eat, those types of things. And in that mental headspace, I was immobilized physically to move forward. And so with that, a kind person to me, hey, it's okay. You can get through one day at a time. And many of us have heard of this concept, one day at a time. It's a beautiful for me, in that moment, as I'm struggling with fear, anxiety, dealing with flashbacks, and I'm, to the point of almost blacking out, I could not see a full day. So in that moment, I realized that I could see 5 minutes. I looked at the clock to the right, and I'm standing in that space. It was fluorescent lights and all kinds of smells and noises, and my mind is kind of going whoom, whoom, and I feel numb, and I can't move my body physically. And I look to the clock to the right, and it's one of those round, old school kind of lunch clocks.
Yes.
And I just look, and there I am holding my girl, and I think I gotta move forward, but I don't know how, because I didn't even feel like I was in my body. And that person, it's almost like that Charlie Brown, wah, 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 wah. And like it seems like time standing still, but it's not at the same time. And I wanted to be able to move forward. And I couldn't get my body to move. And I looked at that clock, and I thought, a whole day, I just want to give up right now. And in that space of a whole day, I looked at that clock and I realized, you know what? I just take a deep breath and I focus on moving forward. Just one thing, move forward. I betcha I could do that for 5 minutes. Just get through 5 minutes. And that little hand, how about I make it through from the 6 to the 7th. That's it. I could do that. And through doing that, I was able to muster enough of all of those emotions in my body, paralyzing me, to use them as fuel and repurpose them to push my body in a direction that served me so that I might be able to be served. And from that time, and in that moment, I discovered something. I discovered a key. Soon I could use that. I could use that 5 minutes, and that soon turned into 10, turned into 15, and turned into a whole day of moving towards something that served me. Next thing you know, I've gotten through a whole year, and I can look back and see the growth and the resilience that I had built. And so, yes, I fast forward of being able to be in many, many lines now, today, serving food to those who are in a similar mindset. Maybe they're immobilized. Being able to repurpose that tool and use it in my business. Use it as a mother. Use it as a woman, as a friend, as an advocate. Use it to get through adversities that don't stop. Shifting careers. What do I do? Starting a new business. How do I move forward? Losing everything and starting again. And repurposing that tool through the storms 5 minutes at a time.
Now, there was something you said there that I really want to hit on here that really spoke to me as you were talking about, repurposing. And I started to kind of feel out, it's like, okay, I heard focus. Okay, I may not be able to see a whole day, but I could see 5 minutes. And being able to really just keep my mind focusing on, okay, just move forward just for 5 minutes. And so as you were speaking about that, it was this moment I wrote down, using kind of this, the micro to go the long distance. So kind of using, right? Am I hearing that right? So
Correct.
not despising the smallest step.
Right.
Not despising the little move, the little bit, but celebrating it is what I heard you say.
Yeah, it's celebrating. So the key is for me, because of the key was to take a deep breath. So that was the first step. B, breathe. The second step was F, focus. What is it? What is it that I'm focusing on? In that moment, I was focusing on just being able to move.
Okay.
Just move. And then the third step is F. So B for breathe, F for focus. And the last step is fierce action. It's not just action. I'm saying fierce action. And the reason I say fierce is because it wells up from your inner soul. Like it wells up, that ferocity. And for me, Dr. Nicole, sometimes you have to borrow the light another person sees in you until your fierce light will ignite.
Now say that again. You said borrow the light another sees in you.
Yes, borrow that light that another person sees in you until your fierce light ignites. See, what I was trying to do in that moment is, in that situation, I had lost my light. I had lost my fire.
Yes.
And someone else had it. And other people could see things in me. Oh, and we've heard this before. Oh, wow, you are so dynamic. You got this. People will say things to you. Whether you choose to receive them, that's a whole other episode right now. But what we can do now in that time, I didn't necessarily have the capability because my inner light was so dim. I didn't necessarily
Yes.
have the ability to accept that I could do it, that
Yes.
I could move forward. However, there were other people around with kind words that saw something in me, and I could borrow the faith they had in me until I was able to build my own reassurance and faith in myself. And so that's what I did. And so it's breathe for breath, breathe, B for breathe, F for focus. And the last step is fierce action. And the key to that fierce action is take that emotion, whatever that emotion is, that you're feeling, because we're human and we should feel.
Yes.
We have emotions, and emotions are good. We can feel anxiety, we can feel overwhelmed, we can feel anger and sad, we can feel happy or glad, we can feel all those emotions. And where we get tripped up is the action that follows the emotion.
Yes.
So what I'm saying and proposing here, and that has worked for so many, is identify where that emotion is in your body.
Now say that again. Say that again. You said find it in your body.
Yep. And for me, that emotion would sit right in the pit of my gut. So when you take that deep breath and you're focusing to choose something that serves you, focus on something that serves you, and then you're taking fierce action, identify where that emotion is showing up in your body. Now, some people, it's in different places. For me, it was the pit of my gut. Whenever I felt overwhelmed, when I felt fear, when I'm in that fight, like the fight, flight, freeze, I can feel it in my gut. Now, some people, it might show up in your head, get a migraine. Some people might show in your back and a backache. Some people, they get different places that they hold their emotion in their body.
Yes.
I'm proposing, and I'm saying, I'm sharing, find it. And then imagine you can get it into a ball, like you can harness it, and imagine yourself harnessing that emotion. Now, what I would do is I know that it's in the pit of my gut, and I would imagine harnessing that emotion in my gut.
Yes.
It's so powerful. And I'd harness it, and I would use it as fuel to push me in a direction that serves me. Now, in the past, that emotion, we have those choices in the fork in the road. We have an emotion, and we get to choose the action that follows that emotion. So, for example, you have that fear. You have that fear in the pit of your gut, and we have this choice. What do? We can choose path A or path B. We know the choices, and we know what's on the other side. Now, for me, I'm fearful, and I'm thinking, I want to run. I want to hide. And it might not be physically. It's really emotionally. I'm hiding inside. I can't move my body because I'm stuck there. I'm immobilized.
Yes.
What I'm doing is taking that deep breath, focusing, and I'm realizing, all right, I'm going to use this as fuel. I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to use this emotion as fuel to propel me forward.
Yes.
In a direction that serves me, compared to previously, maybe even 5 minutes ago, I did something that didn't serve me. I can turn it around. I can make a new choice. And through that, building it up 5 minutes at a time, keep doing what serves me. So keep using that emotion as fuel. So, for example, people come to me and they say, Carolyn, I have a severe anger problem. I will, I'll say things I don't need to say. I've ruined relationships. I've broken bridges. I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of.
Yes.
And I say, use your new best friend. Breathe, focus, fierce action, BFF. And the next time that anger comes up, use that anger. So take a deep breath. Understand what your trigger reaction is. Maybe your trigger reaction is that you're going to say something you don't need to say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your trigger reaction is throw something you don't need to throw. Maybe it's an email you don't need to send. Pulling up your social media, letting somebody know about something they don't necessarily really need to know about. What is that trigger reaction?
Okay.
You know what it is. You know what it is, right? So then, all right, take a deep breath. Focus. What would it be like? What do I want to have? All right, I know, maybe it's an example. Maybe you get angry and you know that you say things you don't need to say. Take a deep breath, focus, and focus on not saying anything for 5 minutes. Walk. Start writing things down, like people you don't need to deliver the letter. And take that 5 minutes for yourself.
So hold on, Carolyn. Hold on. Can you hold on? See, I put my apron on, you guys, because I knew we were going to go to work. I knew we were going to start building some things. So I came ready. I got my pen, my paper, got my apron on. I'm ready to go to work in here with you. So I want you to keep just getting these steps, because this is so important. So this can work for somebody who has an anger problem, somebody who's kind of lost connection to that inner fight that you need when you're trying to do pretty much anything outside of your comfort zone. Whether it's fear, whether it's anger, whatever the emotion is, I hear you saying this can be helpful. So I want folks, as you're listening, be thinking, what might be a feeling that has had me kind of hemmed up, hemmed in, kind of had me constricted, where you have that sense of, gosh, I can't move, or I'm not moving in the way that I want to. I keep making or taking an action that is not in keeping with what I really want to do or what I want for myself or the people around me. So take a moment, take a deep breath, and put yourself in this conversation. Take yourself from being an observer to a participant by getting hold of something that's real for you. And as Carolyn is breaking this down, I want you to begin to imagine yourself taking these steps around that thing that matters most for you. So what I want to have at stake is, getting a fire under me. I get when I'm going to do something really big in my business, I get the vision, I get super excited. And then in those quiet moments where I'm looking at the blank screen and I know I want to write the book, I'm like, let's go to YouTube and watch another short. Okay. So I'm in this conversation with you. So if I'm gonna really lean into my new best friend, my new BFF, what do I do from there? Now that I know what I have at stake here. I know I have something that I am very interested in doing, but also I know where I lose my juice, I lose my fire. Okay, so kind of walk us through, if you would, just kind of walk us through again.
Yeah, building that resilience, reigniting that fire can be done just 5 minutes at a time. So tap into your new best friend. Take a deep breath. You're realizing, oh, I really want to go to that YouTube short. But taking that deep breath, remembering and focus on that goal. What is it? It's writing that book, getting that book written. But you're in a mind block. You're in a, what they call writer's block, they call it. What is having that, turning on that fierce action? Now, there's emotion that comes up, and what it is, and it depends on your fight, flight, or freeze preference. We all have it. We all prefer something whenever we're uncomfortable, whenever we have an emotion pop up or overwhelmed, we're fearful. We get into the mode of procrastination. Procrastination is another emotion. And so in order to tackle that emotion and use it, so what you're doing is you're harnessing that emotion. So if it's an emotion of a procrastination, distraction, those types of emotions as well, is breathe, focus on the goal, and say, you know what, I'm going to push. I'm going to use this emotion that in the past has defined me as XXX, whatever that is. And I'm going to use it to do what serves me 5 minutes at a time. So that means just 5 minutes, I'm staring at my screen. I'm like, I got white writer's block. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, 5 minutes. I'm going to put on some motivational tunes, right? Something that gets me in my headspace. And I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes to just type words. They don't even have to make sense. Like, just get them down so that you're making the movement.
Okay, now this is really good, because part of what I'm hearing is sometimes your mind, you can't get there in your mind first. You got to just, or you just got to move. Maybe you do go there in your mind first, but you have to move. You can't stay in your mind, or you certainly can't stay in avoidance with YouTube shorts or whatever. You have to move, but just 5 minutes at a time. Did I catch that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
okay.
5 minutes. Because what happens is then you're shifting your own definition of what's happening. You're saying, hey, you know what? No, that's not my label.
Yes.
That's not
yes.
me.
Yes.
It's just my mind. And I'm not my mind.
Okay, now this is getting good. I'm glad I have my apron on so I can dig into this, because this is to me what I feel when I hear you say that. The liberation that I feel is all of a sudden I get to redefine in real time, in a multidimensional way, who I am on the terms of what truly starts to reignite my fire, what lights me up. So I get to redefine myself according to that thing that I know that is in me to do, or that excites me, or that I feel called to, rather than the avoider, the procrastinator, the failure, all of those kinds of things that get reinforced when I take another 5 minutes and I don't act. I don't act in line with the thing that I desire and who I truly believe myself to be, or who I want to be, that would accomplish that thing.
Yes, yes, yes. Because
Okay.
we're getting rid of, and we are taking those labels and using those as fuel as well. Because there's a certain emotion that's attached to those labels. And it comes into your fight, your flight, your freeze. And then as those ignite, then we tend to choose one of those labels. It's a vicious circle.
Yes.
And then therefore the self-fulfilling prophecy comes in. And so I'm offering the opportunity to say, no, I'm not my labels. I am not my mind. I am Dr. Kim.
Yes.
And the actuality of me and who I am comes from my heart, not from my mind. And so when I'm listening, breathe. When you breathe, what you do is you're actually igniting your body and getting into that heart space. You're feeding your heart, giving it energy, giving it breath, giving your body breath, getting present. And as you're focusing on something. You're focusing on that goal, that vision, that calling. Because your career is what you're paid for. Your calling is what you're made for.
Say that again. Come on, that's a tweetable moment. Say that again.
Your career is what you're paid for. Your calling is what you're made for. And so when you take that deep breath and you bring into your heart space that calling, your vision, your goal, that thing that you know is going to get you to that next level of self.
Yes.
You're able to take whatever holds you back and use it, repurpose it as fuel in order to capture what you deserve. Because those things used to be roadblocks. No, they're no longer roadblocks. What you're doing is you're repurposing that roadblock to be a building block.
Okay, that's really good. Say it again. You said repurposing the roadblock to become a building block by taking that spaciousness moment in the breath to say, wait a minute, what am I really here for? What am I called for? what is whispering to come through me in this moment? And then, as you said earlier, there's that beautiful choice point. So I get to go YouTube Shorts, or I get to go sit down and write.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Am I following, Carolyn? Or am I going into Nicolean space here?
You are on point. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what I appreciate so much about this, Carolyn, is because taking, when you said, you want to repurpose, there is something that I was reading a book. I cannot remember the author's name, but it's called Do Hard Things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the pieces, a key moment in that book for me, he says, so many of us, we want to do the big thing. We want to do the thing that will make our soul sing. But sometimes what stands between where we are now and actually us doing that thing is that big space called, well, how do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing you say about the repurposing piece, so many of us, we have been carrying around these callings for so long and have not had a way, we've not had a how. We've not had a how to take that same emotion and turn the stumbling block into a building block by using the breath, our focus, and our fierce action.
Yes.
The breath, focus, and fierce action. So here's the next question that I have for you, Carolyn. As you're thinking about this, or as you're talking about this with us, I'm thinking about, is there any pre-work that we can do so that we can get the maximum benefit of our new BFF? Meaning, do I need to sit down and do some internal work, reacquaint myself with the goal that I have? Or do I need to just do some? Is there anything that you've seen? You've worked with thousands of people now with your framework. Are there things that are helpful for them to do ahead of time, to sit and contemplate ahead of time, decide ahead of time before they start using the tool? Or is it, plug and play, or a little bit of both?
Actually, it's twofold. So I would say that it is definitely plug and play. And here's
Okay.
the thing. Like I
Okay.
said earlier, it's not necessarily learning something new. It's remembering something true.
Mm.
And so you've done this before. So giving yourself credit. So when you hear BFF, your new best friend, breathe, focus, fierce action, 5 minutes at a time, you've already done this. If you think about it, when you think about maybe your first time learning to something when you're small. So maybe it was your first time trying to put a Lego set together. Maybe it was your first time trying to learn how to ride a bike. And maybe it was your first time making a friend.
Mm-hmm.
When you were young, you've done this. So let's say there's you're in your youth, you're trying to make a new friend. And maybe you have a little bit of anxiety, maybe you're a little scared, maybe something like that. And you are wanting to go talk to them. You take a deep breath, and what you're doing is you're taking a deep breath and you're realizing, what's the goal? I want to make a new friend. I want to say hello.
Mm-hmm.
Then you practiced fierce action.
Mm-hmm.
You went beyond your fear, and you just went and said hello, and it only took less than 5 minutes. Similar to riding a bike. Maybe you learning how to ride a bike. You get on the bike, you fall,
I see.
you get back on,
Mm-hmm.
fearful that you're going to scrape up your knee and the neighbor kids are going to laugh at you. But what do? You take a deep breath, you see that goal, and you take that focus, and then you take the fierce action of, even though you're worried that people are going to laugh at you and you're going to scrape your knee again, you've harnessed that emotion to get back on. Similar to maybe if you decided in high school, what are you going to do? You're going to get an apartment, you're going to get a job, maybe through middle, once you're done with high school, maybe college or no college, or get an apartment, not get an apartment, career change,
Mm-hmm.
divorce, These different waves within life, these different adversities that we navigate throughout our life. What I'm offering you is an opportunity to flip the script on your adversity and turn it into an advantage. So this is an adverse advantage. Whatever. And now we have different adversities all through our lives, continually, and we navigate them. And so what we're doing is we are shifting. And so the second part of BFF, so that's the way that you can use it, because you already know how to use it. You already do this.
So remembering, staying present to this is a system. These are a set of steps. You've already used it somewhere. You know how to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
So just kind of deciding that first thing, I know how to flip the script. I know how to do this. Okay. Okay.
And so then the second thing is, in order to get really intimate with your focus, with your goal, is to set out a vision. Figure out, what is that vision? What is it that you would be so excited to celebrate in a year? So maybe it's you really want to write that book. Maybe what would you love to be celebrating here? So you're future forecasting, and you're taking that space and that area of vision in order to solidify and create a focus for yourself. So when we talked about in the heart, we talked about a little bit about what we're called for.
Yes.
Sometimes people struggle with, well, I don't really want to talk about our purpose. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that idea. It can be what you're celebrating. What are you excited about? Some people might be, I would be really excited that in a year I can make it up those stairs without being out of breath.
Yes. So I want to underscore this, y'all, as you're listening. That is a very powerful future forecasting prompt that you can use to be able to sink into that thing for you that really matters. It doesn't have to be the only thing in your life ever. It can be, as Carolyn has been talking, there are multiple things that you will go through in life, multiple adversities, multiple triumphs. So it can be for the right now. What is this thing that is speaking to me right now? What's calling to me right now? And as such, what do I want to be celebrating in 6 months, in a year, about this thing that matters most to me right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we break it down, I want to be like, so one woman said to me, I just want to be celebrating. I don't have this grandiose purpose or this huge calling. I don't have any of that. And she was very, very candid. She's like, I don't even buy into that. And we talked about, okay, well, what would you love to celebrate? And she shared, I would like to be able to celebrate getting up the stairs without being winded.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
There it is. There's your focus.
The
woman shared with me that she used this method and she wanted to be able to get out of bed in the morning because she was in so much pain from her cancer treatment. She wanted to be able to get out of bed and get across the room.
Beautiful.
And so using this methodology for these navigating through these adversities in order to shift them into an advantage.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right, Carolyn, you have given us so much So here's where I'd like to take us now. I want to kind of start to wrap around to the entry door that will be our transition door. So as folks are listening to this, and we've encouraged them, pull something forward from yourself that really matters for you. Get yourself in this conversation and this dialogue in a way that's going to be meaningful for you. And once you do that, Carolyn, you've said really lean into your new best friend. Breathe, focus, and fierce action. And then we said, if you really want to amplify or get the most out of this, you can certainly plug and play and use this as needed, but take some time to think about, do a little future forecasting, you said, by using that one beautiful question. What would I like to be celebrating about this thing that matters most to me right now? What would I want to be celebrating in 6 months, in a year? What do I want to be celebrating to help you get really, as you said, you used such a beautiful word, where I can get intimate with that thing, that vision, that picture that I see for myself. And then begin to take those actions, those steps 5 minutes at a time. 5 minutes at a time. What else, as we're thinking about transitioning this studio time and having people actually utilize this in their own lives, Carolyn, what would be the word that you would leave them with, or that you would send them off into their own life to start working this tool for themselves, and these tips that you've put around it to get the most use out of it, to get the best benefit from it? What would be the word, the launching word, not the closing word, the launching word? What word would you give them to really put some wind in their sails?
Mm-hmm. I would say, I don't know about one word, but I would say
it's not one, kind of the
no.
message. Let's say that. What's the message you would leave with them at this point, or send them off with?
Yeah, I would say go using the BFF tool, the BFF method, in order to turn your adversity into advantage.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So this has been a wonderful conversation for me. I have something now that I can, a set of kind of a process I can put in place around something that really matters for me right now. So, Carolyn, for folks that want to have more engagement with you, they want to get more of you, we've just put up here on the screen, as you can see, your website, your LinkedIn page. If you want more, to hear more from Dr. Carolyn about her work, you can certainly follow her on her socials here, as you see on the bottom of the screen. And Carolyn, what are some of the ways that people can engage with you at this point?
Yes, so my website, so carolincolleen.com, you can download my BFF method on the website for free. And then engaging, go ahead and add me on LinkedIn, send me a message, or shoot me an email.
And if somebody is totally on fire about this, and they have other folks on their team, or perhaps in their membership association or something like that, do you do speaking engagements? Do you do workshops? Like how can people not just take it and bring it in for them, but if they are clear, this is something that my people need, my team, my organization, my community, do you do those kinds of things?
Yes, so I also have workshops and keynotes that I work and facilitate with teams and organizations in order to build resilience for teams and help with that emotional intelligence piece, building that resilience and also building leadership, because we all have different struggles throughout the day. How might we be able to add a positive twist and flip the script on what's happening throughout our day?
Well, you had me when you said my favorite P word in the whole English language, positive. So as you all know, here practicing positivity, the studio, this is now you have another place that you can go, or another resource that you can bring in with Dr. Carolyn. If you have a team, if you have even you and your supervisor, if you have, again, a whole company or a community or an event where you'd like to actually drop a big pebble in a pond to really set some ripples going out far, you can bring Dr. Carolyn in to support you. So I just want to say, Carolyn, thank you so very much for sharing this incredible process with us. Thank you so much for being a part of reigniting my own passion and fire for how do I want to serve my brother and sister human beings out here through the practice of positivity. So, as we have said, you are our friendly neighborhood resilience fire walker, possibility stalker, purpose igniter. So we are here for you at any time. Would love to have you come back when it works for you, if you're open to it.
Yes, I would love, love, love it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, guys, listen. This is Dr. Nicole Bossard, Practicing Positivity, the studio. Listen, you can always find me at my new website, www.tgcpositivity.com. So stop by there. I'll be adding other things on to my blog post, but you can always, always, always find me here on the channel or there at my website. And in the meantime, I just want you to remember, listen, positivity is a state of mind. Positivity is a practice, one to be cultivated every day so that it can serve you not just when all the times are good, but most importantly, when life is lifing, good, bad, and everything in between. So thank you so much. And we will see you next month.